Hi everyone, it's been a little while since I've done a video, so I thought what I'd do this evening is sit down and show you a bit of an overview of what I've been working on for my Outremer project. So the Outremer rule set or expansion is for the Barons War rules from Futsal Miniatures and Games. So this does a similar thing as to what their Conquest, Death and Taxes, and the Welsh expansions did. Is it takes the Barons War core rules and adds in additional rules to sort of like apply in a different setting. So this picks up rules and army lists and models for the Crusades. So really, you could apply it for any of the Crusades from the first right the way through to sort of like maybe the fifth or sixth potentially. But really, I think the area where it is mostly aimed is at around the third and fourth Crusade. So, of course, the third Crusade's got Richard the Lionheart, it's got Saladin, it's got those characters you see in films like Kingdom of Heaven. So, lots of history to get involved in, lots of sort of like, interesting scenarios and interesting battles to play out. I've only played one game so far using the Outremer rules supplement, but it was really fun and it does add a different dynamic. We've previously played rules which were sort of like European army versus European army, and they are quite similar. Whereas the Outremer stuff brings in the Muslim armies, which operate in a very different way. So it's a lot of fun, really, to see how they interact with each other. So in the Outremer book, you get rules profiles for both the Muslim armies and then also for some of the Crusader states. So for the Crusader states, it's settled Franks, Crusaders, and military orders. So you can, if you wanted, run a list which includes Knights Hospitaller and Knights Templar. On the Muslim side, it breaks it down into sort of like different regional powers as such, like different whether they're tribes or whether they're sort of like Mamluks or Fatimids, all that sort of stuff. It's a really great book. It's got a lot of interesting history in it itself, so I definitely recommend picking it up and having a look at it. But what I wanted to do is show you what I've been working on for my own models and my own collection, and give you an idea of what's in the current range and where I think there might be some gaps that could definitely be filled by Futsal. So to start off, I wanted to show you the commanders I've been working on. So as with the regular Barons War, you need a commander for your army. Your commander has different levels, so I believe they can be a Said or they can be an Emir. That essentially equates them with the Baron and the Lord on the original rule set. So the difference being the stat lines are different and the number of actions they get. What is interesting is the Muslim commanders, the majority of them, certainly the Emir and the Said, they've both got an ability called Pride, and that means that they have to be mounted unless there's a very specific reason. For example, the scenario you're playing means that they're on foot, which is quite interesting because it means you have to mount your commander, and if you're going to be mounting your commander, you're going to want him leading mounted troops as well. So it kind of forces you down that mounted path. So you have to take cavalry, which really, let's be honest, fits the style of play for these forces at the time as well. So that's quite an interesting one. What you've got here, I'll show you this guy first. So this one is the commander. Really, really lovely model from Futsal. This was part of the Kickstarter. I didn't get these in the Kickstarter. I got these for Christmas. I've slowly but surely been working on them, but really did love this model. Made sure I gave him this shield because I wanted to try and make it look a bit more sort of like ornate, so it almost looks like it's been, enamelled or glazed. But it's a lovely model, really, really interesting. I did enjoy painting the cloak as well. The cloak was quite fun, and I've gone for a sort of like sky blue for this guy, just to try and make him stand out, really. But I did have used bright colours as much as I can for most of my Muslims in the army, so that's a really nice model. Again, a foot mounted banner. So you will notice this guy does not in fact have a banner, but that's mainly because I've been having some difficulty with the transfers. And these are kind of where they're from, with their Little Big Man Studios, or I got them from the Footsore website. But one of the recommendations is that you put it onto a bit of tin can. This is an old Pepsi can, and it works all right. I'm just not too happy with the join along the edge there, so I need to do it again, and I'll probably do it all at once when I do the whole lot. But for the minute, they don't have a banner, but I've gone for a matching colour scheme, sky blue. Again, lovely model to paint, really quite easy. The scale mail was quite nice to paint as well. I've gone for kind of like a bronze finish on the helmet and the armour. Again, same with this. Really enjoyed painting those actually, they were nice fun. So this is the Imam, or the, I think it's the Muezzin. So he's sort of like the religious figure, and they work in a similar sort of way to monks and priests in the core rule set. So you add them as an upgrade to the commander's command group, and these guys give you a boost to the distance for when you can rely on your commander's morale, which is pretty good really, because if you've got a banner, it boosts it to 12 inches. If you take this guy, it boosts it by an extra 6 inches. So you've got sort of almost like, I think you'd have like an 18-inch bubble, which would cover the majority of the battlefield. So if you needed to rely on your commander's morale, say you were taking a break test, you could rely on the commander pretty much from almost anywhere on the battlefield. But again, I didn't know colours for this. I don't know whether they're historically accurate, so I just wanted to make it look cool. I also wanted to make him look different. I wanted him to stand out and contrast with my commander. Again, really, really nice model, that one. So those are the commanders. As you can see, there's no musician in there. I don't know if there's a musician in the Muslim army list, but I don't think there's currently one available for them. So hopefully that'll be something that Footsore will be bringing. But what I'll show you next is the cavalry I've been working on. So moving on to the next models that I've added to my collection, I've got a couple of light cavalry here. Again, these are Footsore models. They were available from the Kickstarter. Again, I didn't get them in the Kickstarter, but I wanted to get a selection of cavalries, but I think I do need some more. So these guys are armed with swords, shields and bows. Interestingly, I think some of the Muslim cavalry have a special ability which allows them to swap weapons. So you can be armed with a sword, you can be armed with a bow. So you can get the benefits of both types of weapon, which is really useful. We'll start with this one. This one's slightly more boring, just a regular brown horse. I liked how lightly armoured they are. And I know that sounds obvious, but just the amount of cloth on these. This one I've just gone for a red, gone for like a dappled grey horse. Enjoyed painting the shield on this guy. That was quite all freehand, which was quite a pain. Did a bit of freehand on the saddlecloth as well, just to try and make it look a bit more interesting. But overall, these guys are quite fun. Useful in the game, but like I said, I think I do need some more. The next ones I've got are a couple of medium cavalry. So you can see the difference between these guys. These guys have got some armour. So you can see he's got some sort of laminar armour on, he's got some sort of chain armour on. Both of them very nice models. Again, these have got spears and they've got bows. And they've got swords as well. So these are the sort of guys who'd be able to alternate weapons, see what they've got. But they're really nice. Great models to paint, a lot of fun. There are Mamluks available in the range, which I do want to get. But I think first I'll need to bulk up my forces with some more medium and possibly light cavalry. Because I would do kind of like fancy having a go with quite a mounted force of Muslim troops. But that's it for the cavalry I've got. Next up is the infantry, which does involve quite a few more models. So bear with me while I get those out. So what we've got here is the infantry that I've got for my Muslim army. So I've got a couple of packs of each. So I've got 8 bowmen, I've got 8 armed with hand weapons, and I've got 8 arms with spears. So it does give me a little bit of flexibility when I'm building a retinue, but at the same time it is quite static. They're unarmored, all of them. You could say, yeah, they've got padded armor on, or if you wanted, you could give them. I think they get laminar. I don't think they get mail. But in terms of sort of like filling the full range of available sort of like, you know, heavy infantry, currently there's no models from Footsore sculpted by the guy who sculpted all these, so by Paul Hicks, that fit that aesthetic. They've got some for Saga, so they've got sort of like heavy armored Arab infantry, but really to me they don't quite fit the same aesthetic. They're a bit more chunkier, they're a bit bulkier, so I haven't taken the plunge and ordered any. But these guys are fun to paint. I've gone for a variety of colours. You can see greens, yellows, blues, some purples, reds, just to give it a bit of variety. I wanted these to be bright and vibrant, almost in contrast to the European forces that I've got. Some of the shields are painted freehand. So for example, this guy here is freehand, as is this one. But some of them use transfers, so these are the transfers which I got from the Footsore website. Again, I think they're Little Big Man Studio. They say on there that they're designed to fit musketeer miniatures, which I didn't know is what Footsore were before they changed their name to Footsore. They do fit on these shields, but be prepared that they don't wrap around the outside, and some of them don't quite fit. So these teardrop shaped ones, you do need to try and mold the top of the transfer around the shield to make it fit. And then any sort of like bits and pieces. So for example, here we can see the stripes coming over the edge. You will have to paint the edge of the shield to match. And say for example this one finished quite short of the bottom, so I could still see the white that I'd painted onto the shield underneath, so I had to touch it up with paint. So some patience is required. They're not a sort of like, you know, slap them on and go. And this one here as well, you can kind of see if you look closely. Let's see if I can get to focus for you. The wrinkles at the edge of the shield from the transfer, but that's only if you get really close. Like, it doesn't matter, and they look great. They really do look good. The patterns are fantastic. They look the part, and so I'm really glad I went through the extra effort to do it. But yeah, the Muslim infantry are interesting in game. The only one we've played so far, they perform pretty well. There's an interesting rule for some of the archers, I think, which I think comes when you're building the list. You have to assign your retinue what's called an askar, which I think is sort of like a regional rule. Because so there's the options are things like Fatimid, Kurdish, Mamluk, Turkic. So depending what region of sort of like the Middle East they're from. And when we played, we practiced, I think my friend put Fatimid on his. So this was quite interesting. The groups of infantry archers ignore the first friendly group within 6 inches when drawing line of sight with a bow or composite bow. So basically you can fire up and over your own group, which is really useful if you just want to plonk a bunch of infantry in front and then shoot over the top. So good tactic, could work. So yeah, that made the game quite interesting. Although the game was over by that point anyway. My forces had completely crumbled. But it gives you that flavour to play games slightly differently than you would in a European setting. So that's everything I've got for the Muslims. I'll do something similar in a minute to show you the Europeans I've been working on. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you do, please, like it and subscribe, and then I'll try and make some more videos soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.